Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video on the Volkswagen Crafter. In the last video, you would have seen us get to this point. I say us, I wasn't actually here. Chris got to this point. We've got a new second-hand door there, fits the hole absolutely perfect. Got a new hinge on there, got that all sorted, and that new piece of seal and step is actually all located, ready to weld in. You're ready to crack straight on with it, mate. You're going to pick up where you left off.
That's right.
Start getting some welding done. We've got some new bits for it coming in from TPS. Hopefully, we can put a big dent in this one in this video. So let's get straight on with it. Straight on to cleaning up all of that old wax off of there. We need to get all of that removed, otherwise it's just going to keep spitting and it's going to cause all sorts of problems while Chris is welding. He's got that all cleaned up, starts the process of masking it up, straight on with a bit of zinc weld through primer, and obviously spray that on the inside of the repair panel as well, and then get on and get that lined up.
As you can see there, that's both of those primed with the zinc rich primer, weld through primer. And that is virtually ready to go on there. Now I'm just going to clean it in place temporarily. And I wanted to mention a couple of people in the comments, a lot of really positive comments in the last video. So thanks to everybody for that. A couple of people said, why don't I put the panel over the top and cut through both skins at the same time? And everyone's got a different way of doing things, I guess. And but this is my preferred method, and there is a couple of reasons why. And I'll take that back off. One of those is I want to try and avoid as much as possible as cutting into any inner skins, because it means I've got to do additional welding to remedy those. But if you've got a panel like this and you're doing a cut with disc cut or whatever cut-off saw you're using, it's quite straightforward for 90% of the cut. But the tricky bit is when you get to both of these weld flanges. And to fully cut, you can't avoid cutting into the inner skin. So the idea is that the method I use, because I'm only laying that over to mark, once I've removed it, obviously there will be the however much I've left on there, but I can cut through it to sort of there, and then I can cut it off, so I only leave small pieces of that flange left. And then what that allows me to do is go in with the angle grinder at an angle and just nip them off. Now, if I still had this outer panel on there as a template, I'd be cutting into that, so that'd be no good. And I say the only other option is to slice all the way through that, which you don't really want to do. So again, everyone's got their own way of doing it. That's my kind of method. It's worked out so far, so good, so I guess I'll stick with it. Anyway, just I thought it was easier to show that than trying to answer it in the comments. And anyway, I'm going to get that clamp back up and crack on.
So with that all lined up and all pinched up, he can move on. Just make sure it's 100%, get those cuts absolutely correct, and then move on to the process of getting the fire blanket there and start welding this one up. So just a couple of spot welds on those seams there, and then move on to all of the plug welds all the way along the top, and of course all the way along the bottom.
So that is the plug welds all completed there and ground up underneath as well. I didn't time lapse that because most of the time I'm blocking the camera anyway. So, but it's onto the butt welds now, and the reason I do it this way round is by doing all those plug welds first, you know the panel's completely secure and not going to move anywhere. So it's just those two to do now. So I'll get those done, and we can then put the door back on and double check alignment and go from there. I am using the mics today because Rob's out and he didn't record them, so hopefully the sound is a little bit better than the previous video when I was winging it a bit, as Rob had the mics with him. But we'll see how it comes out.
So Chris made nice light work of that previously, doing all the welds, and now it is those 2 seam welds. Get both of those done and he can move straight onto the grinder, grind up all of those welds, get them reasonably flat because they're all going to need a tiny little bit of filler over the top of. Wow. Look at that. You're there with it, mate, ain't you?
Yes, yeah. I have time-lapsed some of it. I know you've been out, Rob.
Yeah.
But I have time-lapsed some, and then some I haven't bothered, because as I think I explained in the previous cutting, I'm kind of blocking the camera off when I'm working close in. You don't really see it, do you? But yeah, that's it. And now you're back. I think we'll lift the door back on.
Yeah.
And we'll just double-check the alignment, and then it's on with the next stage. I know I've still got that little bit there to repair.
You yank that out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so I'll do that. But yeah, all good.
Yank that out or get a PDR man round, Chris.
Little point in that, mate.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Mate, you've done well there. You've done really well.
So.
Right, let's get that door hung on then. And is all the welding complete now?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, it's all welded.
Oh, that's nice.
It is. This is the worst bit out of the way now.
And I'll still say it. I thought once when I bought this van, it was instant regret. I said that to you, didn't I? But you don't.
No,
I don't need to have instant regret because, of course, as usual, you've knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's just a shame them doors have been swapped.
It's a shame that a lot of things have been run over.
If them 3 doors had not been swapped, how nice is this?
Yeah, this would be done, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, what I mean by that is it'd be relatively low cost on parts, the way we've done it, and quick turnaround, wouldn't it?
We have noticed there's a couple of wires right underneath there, though, that have been cut.
Well,
or they've melted.
Look like they've been
stretched,
don't they? So I'm not quite sure what's happened there.
No, we just need to go through
runs,
it.
Doesn't it?
It runs, but it's got a steering light on, engine management lights on. There's a lot of lights, but the engine does sound lovely.
Yeah.
But we know that the battery is knackered. It's been a battery too long, and that it was spinning over very, very slowly. Anyway, mate, I'll help you get that door on, and then we'll just continue on with it. But yeah, well done, mate. It looks absolutely brilliant. So a couple of little spot weld bits here, a couple of little dent pulls rather on this panel, and then straight on to a bit of filler work, covering up all of those welds and imperfections, getting that 100% just before it's ready to start putting on some primer. And as if by magic, that van is now ready for a bit of primer, mate. You've done well there. You've turned this one around so quickly. We did hang the door on. Chris just double checked everything before he started his filler work. Yeah, you're happy?
Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
Just made it a lot easier to do this bit up on the arch with no door in the way. So, but yeah, it's all fine. So
you're ready to bag up?
Yeah, get some primer on that, and the new wing's arrived, hasn't it, as we said earlier, so that needs scotching off. I'll prime that in there and prime this at the same time whilst we've got nothing else here
in the workshop.
Obviously we know we're waiting on a delivery of
a car,
so it makes sense to get this done, doesn't it, ASAP, and then the primer can be drying while we get on with the next project.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. But I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? It's come out absolutely perfect, and with that door on, the lines were absolutely...
Yeah, no sealer on the seal yet, spray sealer, as we've covered in previous videos. Let's get some primer on it first, and then get that primer prepped, and then just before we're putting the colour on, we put the sealer. And it's
wet on wet. Yeah. All right, mate, we'll let you crack on and get that primed. The new wing has just arrived from TPS, and of course they come in a bit of a black primer, but they need proper primer on them before you paint them. So Chris finishes masking up the area that he's just repaired on that, so that he can prepare to move on to some primer, get that primed and get the wing primed at the same time. That way it's all done. So straight onto a nice bit of primer there. Couple of coats on there, a couple of coats on the wing in the spray booth in the background. And I think we are pretty much there with this one now, and it is starting to look good. No signs of any previous damage. So a good while later now, and Chris did only time-lapse painting the arch, but the gaps where you see him stop and keep coming in and out, that was actually, he was in here priming this wing. Brand new, genuine wing from TPS. but of course it just comes in that black coat, so that needed priming as well. And the van, I think you'll agree, you're never going to tell, mate, that's had any work whatsoever, are you?
That's right.
It's come out flawlessly. I know in here it looks like it's actually painted, but that is actually just grey primer. So I think we're ready to lift the door on this one. And
in an ideal world, I'd be now prepping that, putting the sealer on, painting it.
Yeah.
But we need to get a different project in.
We do, don't we?
So
yeah,
it's
get
going
that
to be
done.
hang the door on so it's watertight, chuck it outside, and then we get the other project
Yeah,
in.
and we'll continue on with this later.
That's right.
Running a quick car vertical on this one. We've had it for quite a while. So data sources, 900 plus data sources in 35 different countries are checked on this tech check when using car vertical. They're also partners with DVLA fuel in this report. So theft, we're all okay there. Police database, stolen vehicle check in 5 different countries. Click on more and there's various other pieces of information where you can go more in depth. And then on odometer, you've got the last known mileage on this one, so 130,195. 4 records found on mileage there. So if you click on show more, it says there on the 3rd 2018, so the registration date, that will be delivery mileage. And then on the 2nd 2021 will be the first input because it's its first MOT at 92,800. And then of course on the 2nd the 3rd 2022, the mileage there is 130,000. Now where you've got just slightly more miles, you've got on the MOT it was 92,871, and then on the same month 92,891. That will be where it's failed and then it's gone back for a retest. Let's look further down and see if that was the case. So down on timeline you've got 9 records found. So the manufacturer's date there was registered in the United Kingdom. So ownership change 0319, and then ownership change there on the 10th 2019. Had a license plate change, obviously the new people that bought it on the 10th, on the 11th 2019 from its original reg to T121CYM. And then you can see down the 2nd 2021, as I just said, failed a technical inspection. Foul, rear registration plate does not conform to the specific requirements, obviously spaced incorrectly. Front registration plate, exactly the same thing. Windscreen damaged but not adversely. And then of course you can see on the same month there that it did pass, and then the year after it passed as well. And then on the 11th 2022 the number plate was removed and then it was put back to its original plate. I want to thank Car Vertical once again for the continued support on these must-do checks. To benefit from a nice little discount off your check, use the code up on screen now or click the link in the description where it will automatically apply your discount. I am as excited as everyone else to see this one finally rolled back in the workshop. So straight on with it there, Chris. Off with the driver's door. Got the wing there in primer. That's all getting flatted off. And then, of course, we got all of the inside of the wheel arch there and the step to flat off as well. All of it needs to be prepped, ready for some paint. And, of course, that PU sealer underneath. It is wet on wet, as previously mentioned. So that needs to go on just before the paint. It needs to take off. Right, that's enough time lapse there of watching Chris spin around with a piece of Scotch-Brite, flattening all the panels off. He is pretty much there with it. Very, very next, he's going to be masking it up and moving on to the spray sealer. I don't think there's any brush-on sealer on this one. It is just spray sealer on the bottom edge of that seal and up under the wheel arch there. So we'll let him get that masked up, get that done. We are getting close with this one now. Very, very close. So straight on to the masking up. Preparation is key. Of course, you get all your prep right, and then once you actually spray it all on, it makes a very, very nice job of it. So once all the masking up's done, Chris is going to get down and crack on with that PU sealer. He will do a couple of practice runs on a piece of cardboard, and of course he will match it to the other side so that it looks perfect and you can't notice it's been replaced. So of course preparation is key, and you can see there's quite a lot of masking up there to do the PU sealer. We are going to be using the Worth, basically this stuff It's factory. This is what they use in the factory. It goes in a gun, you spray it on, and it is absolutely fantastic stuff. And once it is on there, it looks like nothing ever happened. And that is ultimately the plan. Chris is just going to go and wash his hands, get ready, and he's going to spray on some of that sealer. So onto the PU sealer there. It is the grey Worth PU sealer. Just one coat of that on there. A couple of little bits of unmasking to do, of course, because you're going to be going over the top of that with the paint. So just a little bit more brushing on there, get that absolutely back to factory, and then he can move on to the paint. So on with the first coat of paint here, and Chris will be out here doing this, into the spray booth doing the wing, back out here doing another coat, back in the spray booth again. You kind of get a gist, and he'll put 3 coats on that possibly, and then that will be all done. How lovely it is to see this van finally at this stage and painted. Chris has cracked on with this one and made a lovely job of the paintwork and the sealer. It is now all completely painted, and you can see it's got a lovely shine on it. The wings there, that's all perfect. And we are pretty much ready to start the process of building this one back up. Now, I know quite a lot of people in recent videos say, give us an update on that. We don't do updates on vehicles. The updates come via the videos. But eagle-eyed viewers, I know you're going to notice, well, that van's in the background now, but earlier on in this video was actually 6 to 8 weeks ago, and we had the Discovery 5 there on the frame machine. So you can see we've had this one in and out, and we've done other projects in between, but very, very nice to see it at this stage. Let's crack on and get it all built back up. When it's all painted, and the next process is going to be putting it all back together. Chris will get out the dinner troll here, and we use this on every car. We don't always show it, but we are trying to show it, because people always mention, what do you do for preventative for the future-proofing it for any rust or anything like that? And we spray dinner troll, you see, with a funnel through all of the little holes there, and once it starts leaking out of everywhere, you know you've got enough in there. We know there's enough in there when it starts leaking out everywhere, and that is done. So moving straight on to the build-up process, on with that driver's door, all on his own there, Chris. And then he'll move on to the front wing. You've got the headlight, you've got the bumper bracket. There's various other little bits and pieces that all need putting on there. So the brackets, bolts, everything. And I think he's pretty much there with it. So Chris is moving along with this one very, very well. He's got the door on there, which he didn't even ask for any help. He got that on there on his own. Managed it quite well. Front wings on there, that all looks fantastic. Headlights in, we are moving along with it. Chris wrote me it. Can you leave that open just for 1 sec? Chris put a list on here of bits for me to get, and I've only just realised that there's one little piece I'm missing. But I did just want to mention something. You've took so long to do this one, and you do keep saying you want to grow a vegetable patch. I went to Chris, God, can you see all that in there? He went, never mind all that in there. Yeah. Look at the plants that are growing in it.
Sycamore, they are.
They're actually growing.
They grow like a weed, those sycamore.
They're actually
fast
growing in the scuttle panel. Yeah. Did you want to put that bonnet down?
Yeah, just to show you the window. You probably want to mention the dinner. Mention the dinner troll, Rob?
Yeah, I already mentioned it in the time lapse.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, looks good, mate. I'm going to show you the little piece that we're missing, and I'm sure in video 1 we had it. And that, never mind this bumper, we got a new one, but there's a section that goes in here, and I'm sure that that was in the video. I'm going to have one more quick check around and see if we got it, and if we haven't, I'm going to have to get one of them ordered up today. So although putting this video together, I could see that some of it was actually filmed back in January. It has been quite a long time, but we've had so many different projects in between, and of course this one took up quite a lot of space. But in just this video, it's amazing how much you have actually got done in this, Chris. So
yeah. Over a lot, like you say,
over a long period. But you've got like literally that is all of the repairs on this side of it are actually complete now.
Yep.
The front bumper was actually in the back of the van, and it's my fault because Chris said, right, is there anything else to paint? And it wasn't until I pulled the bumper out, you said, oh, it's got a scratch on the actual grille. So he's already got that in the paint booth. Going to be part of the next video.
Well, next week I've got a couple of other bits to prime. So I'm going to prime them all at the same time. Those bits are for a different project.
Yeah.
So I thought it's crazy knocking up a little bit of primer just for that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll do it all in one and get those painted, yeah, and then we can get it back together.
So you will notice a little bit of it's not quite the same, but once I've polished that bonnet and polished that wing, you're never going to know. It's going to be absolutely fine. So that is all of that major damage is complete. We've got an arch liner to put in, the grille to put on, and of course Chris has built all that door up with our original door panel, all the switches back on, and the door lock, before someone says,
that's right,
did you remember? All of the carpet is all back together. I think, like I say, look at that repair, Chris. What repair?
Yeah, it's coming out quite nice.
We are going to have to put something on there because you can see where your boots caught it already.
Yeah,
just left the mud
has
there.
There's a black sticker to go. If you look the other side, you'll
Yeah,
see.
I know. I remember seeing it on the old one. It's like a sandpaper sort of 80 grit.
Yeah.
So we'll put a bit of that on. And the other thing is why we've actually got a side loading door for this. I went and got it. When was that? Oh, a couple of weeks ago.
It was, yeah.
It's in the back of one of those transits.
Right, that's right.
And while I was there, I actually got all of the bits that was stolen from this back door. So you'll see now, there's a handle in there with a latch, new catch up there, and of course, all of your bits and pieces up there are all there as well. So that door now shuts correctly, as does that one. But 100%, Chris noticed, it was only earlier on when he started building this up, all of that stuff has been stolen and rung over on this van.
Yes, yeah. There's no damage behind all of this, but all the parts that were taken off were all
Smashed
busted.
up.
Yeah. So.
And even the back light was out, wasn't it? And
Well, the back light had been removed, and someone's put the opposite side bulb holder in it.
so just basically robbed a load of bits.
They'd robbed a load of bits, yeah. So
But
we've got to get one of those.
overall, mate, we're there with it now.
Well, it's coming together now.
Can't
isn't
wait to get it finished, get it sold and create some room.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
a
the
big
size of it.
Big old lump, isn't it? To
It's
have in the
ginormous,
yard.
yeah.
That's right.
Right, I think that's it, mate.
All right, mate.
That's going to be the end of today's video.
It is,
if you
yeah.
did enjoy it, please do hit that thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. And of course, it is free of charge. Don't forget, like, subscribe and share. And also, you can follow us on Instagram for the little sneak peeks at Salvage Rebuilds. You can follow Chris on his personal one at Salvage Rebuilds Chris. We'll see you very, very soon in the next one.